This is the new Hotone Pulze amplifier. Now this is entering the market in the same space as something like the Mooer SD30 or the Spark or something like that. But let's talk a little bit about the Hotone Pulze amplifier, and then I'll demo it and I'll give you guys my thoughts here at the end of the video. The Hotone Pulze amplifier features two 3.5-inch custom full range speakers. The power amp is a Class D stereo power amp with 30 watts total output, that's 15 watts per speaker. Now you can use this as an audio interface. It has a built-in USB-C connection, and with that, the digital audio signal processing on the Pulze amplifier is a 24-bit depth, 44.1 kHz sample rate. The number of effects modules you have per patch is 7. The number of total effects, including the global EQ, is 177. It features 5.0 dual mode BLE and audio with Bluetooth and MIDI support. There are 200 preset slots. There is a built-in drum machine with 100 rhythm patterns, including the metronome. To our in and out options, we have 1/4 inch input for our instrument. We have an 1/8 inch stereo auxiliary input as well. On the output side, the only output that we have is an 1/8 inch stereo headphone jack. On the top of the unit, there is a 4-inch 800 by 480 color dynamic display touchscreen. And then on the front of the unit behind the grill, we have these cool LED lights and our master volume knob. So I think that this is a really interesting offer from Hotone Audio. The thing that I am familiar with from Hotone is the Ampero and the Ampero 2 and the Ampero, and all the Ampero line of products. And sort of what this looks like to me is a light version of the Ampero with like built-in speakers and a power amp that you could travel with. Now, in full disclosure, Hotone Audio is sponsoring this video, but they didn't ask me to say anything. They didn't even send me a spec sheet for this. I'm just reading the specs off the manual that they sent me. So, you know, they don't really have much input into this video. So with that said, let's mic this thing up, let's plug into it, and then I'll give you guys my thoughts and opinions. All right, I'm plugged into the Hotone Pulze amp here. Now, it does have a touchscreen on top, and I am filming that with this camera over here so you guys can kind of see the touchscreen. But I think the better way to use this is probably to connect to it with the app on my phone. So we're gonna open up the app here and we're gonna find the Pulze BLE amp. We're gonna connect to the selected device here. So the nice thing about using the app on your phone is you actually have way more control over the amp than you do with the touchscreen on the top. This is like the default 𝗦𝗣𝗘𝗏𝗔𝗡𝗫 patch. And it's not very loud. Like, I don't think that this amp is designed to be super loud, but the first thing that's noticeable to me is like, it's worth mentioning, especially like, because the most common question I get with these smaller amplifiers like this is like, how loud are they? I think it's probably most people's first question when they plug into something like this. But let's look at the menu up here on the top of this thing here. So we have this button on here on the left, which gives you your tuner, your drum machine, and your settings. Let's look at the settings here. We have our audio settings, so we have our input gain, we have our instrument volume, and we have our Bluetooth audio volume. Remember, you can connect to this as a Bluetooth speaker on its own. Our auxiliary in volume, if we wanted to plug in like an 1/8 inch cable to that or something. Space Plus is on. We have, this is the control panel for our amp. And then if we scroll left and right, these look like different effects. Yeah, you can see on the bottom here it says effects. This last button here is our drum machine. Okay, so again, probably not the way to control this, the top of the unit, you know? So let's use the app. I'm actually gonna move this camera. Oh boy, setting up cameras. Hey-o, okay. Okay, so back to business here. I'm connected to it with my phone, and you can see on the phone, we actually have the effects chain here, which is nice. We have a so this is what's going on. We have a boost on. Let's turn that boost off. Let's turn our gate on. And then we can select our cab here. We have an Eagle cab. I'm gonna low cut this quite a bit. I'm gonna see if I can get that speaker a little bit louder if I run less bass through it. Oh, we're starting to get a little crackly right about there. So. It's like the app and the controls that are in the Pulze amp remind me more of the Ampero 2 as opposed to the OG Ampero, just for reference here. Like we can add this depth boost in. We can go voice rough smooth, just like on the Ampero 2. Let's add the low end back in. Let's see what else we have in our effects chain here. So we have EQ, Effects 1, and Effects 2. So even though the menu layouts are similar to the Ampero 2, it is a little bit more limited than the Ampero 2, since you have fixed blocks, which is more like the OG Ampero. Let's look at the different effects that we have here. So we have lo-fi delay, ping pong, reverse delay, ambient, tape delay, digital, auto was. You know, there's a good amount of effects in here. Pretty cool. Let's throw a reverb on here. Maybe not the hall. Let's do this cloud reverb. I mean, all of the effects in the amp simulations sound in line with their other products. Let's turn those off. Let's check our different amps here. Oh, we do have some bass amps in here too. That's kind of cool. Let's go with this. Yeah, again, I think that the guitar tones sound really good. You just gotta be really careful with how loud you're driving the speakers, because these small speakers, they tend to, like, you know, distort or like clip if you push them too hard, especially in the low end. Just for funsies, let's find a good clean amp. Let's do this Vox 15 TB here. Okay, and I didn't just pick a clean tone so I could play a clean tone. I just wanted to put these effects back on. All right, so I have the Hotone Pulze amplifier plugged into my computer. I am using it as an audio interface, but not only as an audio interface, I am also using it as my studio monitors. And this for me is probably the preferred way that I would use this. Now, due to the nature of this setup, it makes it really difficult to get a good, like, microphoned tone from the Hotone Pulze amplifier. So what you guys are gonna be hearing is the direct tone coming out of the Pulze amplifier. The first thing that I noticed when I got over here and started using it like directly in front of my face as opposed to kind of behind me when I'm demoing it is this Space Plus setting really makes a big difference, especially with delays. Like, the trails actually sound like they're coming from different parts of the room, and if I turn it off, it narrows those trails quite a bit. It's a very cool effect, and if you are using it that way, And if you are using it this way, I would definitely leave the effect on because it really does help with the stereo spread of the sound. I'm gonna play something back here. Now we do have this master volume control knob, and again, if I was using it this way, it's really handy just having that on the front right there like that. And using it as an audio interface, the playback volume is actually very loud comparatively to just using it as like a little jam amp. I mean, I wouldn't sit in front of it at that volume for any length of time, so really makes a big difference in the application you're using it as. But let's like record to this here. So, you know, my final opinions on the Pulze amplifier, having used it in like 2 different scenarios, I prefer to use it this way, as opposed to, you know, just like a travel sort of gig amp. There's a couple reasons for that. And one of the main reasons is this is not battery powered. Now, if this was battery powered, I think it kind of makes a little bit more sense as a travel amp. But the way that I actually think of the Hotone Pulze amplifier is like, it looks very nice. It's like a cool decorative, especially with the lights in the front. The lights in the front really like help it look visually pleasing. It's almost like it would just really fit in on like a bookshelf or something like that. And not only could you, you know, have some tasty guitar tones through it, but it would also double as like a stereo Bluetooth speaker. Especially with that Space Plus setting, you really notice it when you're listening back to like stereo audio through it. It really helps fill up the space quite a bit. You know, if you had a laptop or something like that with really crummy built-in speakers, and you just wanted to like track guitar and you don't want any plugins cluttering up your laptop or something, you could use the multi-effects in this to track your guitar. You can also track dry DI guitar signals, so you can just use this to monitor your guitar and track the clean guitar tone. You can plug this into your laptop, have your stereo monitors, have your built-in multi-effects, still be able to record your dry out, still be able to reamp with it because it does have a reamp mode also. That'd probably be my preferred way to use it. All right, shout out to Hotone Audio for sponsoring this video. Shout out to you for being here with me. If you guys liked it, make sure to hit the like button and I will see you next video. Bye guys.